Hello, I'm Alec Baldwin, and I'd like to talk to you about some of the amazing things the Screen Actors Guild Foundation does that you may not have heard about. The SAG Foundation is a nonprofit organization that helps to ensure that all actors have the support they need to follow their dreams. This includes providing a catastrophic healthcare safety net. When actors need help, we're there for them. Offering master classes and seminars so actors can work on perfecting their craft, as well as the opportunity to use their gift of storytelling to join the fight for children's literacy in their own communities and on the web. The SAG Foundation relies on contributions from people like you, so please visit us at sagfoundation.org to find out more about these programs and all the things your tax-deductible donations can help us do. Support the SAG Foundation. Act now.
Hey there, how are you? I can't hear you. You okay? Okay, great. The game's going to begin in just a bit. We're going to have the cheerleaders out here in just a moment, and then we'll get on with the mascot, and then the pre-show warm-up. It'll be fine. My name is David H. Lawrence, the 17th, and I'm really thrilled that... That's not a joke. I'm not sure what was funny there. That's my name. It really is. Honest to gosh, I got business cards. I can prove it. I'll be your moderator today. This is a really interesting thing for me because I've only been an actor for a short period of time, and most people know me as a creepy evil villain. But before that, I was a creepy evil technologist and worked in radio and television and in technology for companies like America Online and Yahoo and Google and DARPA, which is the division of the Department of Defense that kills people and breaks things with technology. And we also helped fund the original research that Tim Berners-Lee then created the web from. And also, we really did help invent the internet back in the 60s when it was called the ARPANET. So my background in technology has been much longer standing than my background in acting. And I've really loved the last few years because technology has so disintermediated our business, right? Everything that we used to do with paper and with limousines and with messengers and with telephones has been replaced by the internet in so many ways, right? An actor the other day was really decrying the fact that they don't send a car for her anymore when she books a top-of-show guest. So today what we want to talk about is one of the aspects of how the internet has disintermediated things, and that is with the way we market ourselves via websites. Now, websites have been around for an awful long time, over 20 years, and we are just now still, there are people out here, I'm sure, raise your hand if you don't have a website yet. See? So it's good because you haven't fallen prey to the, hey, here's my cat, with those websites cropped up all over the place in 1993. It was amazing. So we're still asking that very same question. What do we do for best-of-breed design and function for websites? Now, you may not position it that way word-wise. You might say, how do I make a website at all that works, that attracts the kind of people to the website that you want? And so we've assembled a panel of people here who are going to help you do that. I'm sure some of them have very strong opinions, and I'm sure you have very strong opinions, and there are going to be people here who are technologically adept and technologically inept. And that's fine, because we want you to ask those questions. You're actors. We're not expecting you to be web designers. And in fact, some of you may throw your hands up at the end of this and go, I'm just going to pay somebody to do this. This is like not for me. But you might think to yourself, oh, I can do WordPress. I could probably handle WordPress. Or, oh, Wix. Or, oh, I could have somebody do it for me where it's not hugely expensive. Well, maybe that's an option for me. Or you might want to just dive in, which is going to be great. So let me just tell you who's with us. Is it Doughty or Dowdy? Dowdy. Dowdy. Okay, Gavin Dowdy, who is here from Google, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, absolutely. And isn't it nice that they applaud rather than going, because sometimes you'll say, from America Online, and people go, but why don't you take a moment, as I introduce people, take a moment and just tell people who you are, where you came from.
Well, I'm Gavin Dowdy from Google. I originally went to film school at University of Southern California, got out and began fiddling around with my word processing software as a way of not writing the great American screenplay, and before you knew it, I was a professional software developer. But I've always been interested in entertainment and filmmaking, and began dabbling with short films again recently. But I'm here to answer, any questions you might have about the technical aspects of websites, and rant about my own personal philosophy of this sort of stuff.
We love rants. To Gavin's left is, and your right, Ellen Trainer. Did I pronounce that properly?
Yes.
Nice. Ellen is, tell people what your company is and what you do.
Thank you very much. My name's Ellen Trainer. My company is Actors Webmaster, and we've been developing websites for actors since 1998. I have a background in technology. I was at Bell Labs in semiconductor design and technical marketing, and I was an actor in over 50 national commercials, and so I mix both of them as well. Part of my head is...
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm completely a propeller head, and I also love the camera, so that's great. But I've been pretty much 20 years in and around marketing, advertising, public relations, and trying to get back to the basics and make sure that things are simple and clean and know who we're speaking to and be clear and consistent in what we say. So I'll go on a rant about that.
Great.
Okay.
Sounds great. And to Ellen's left and your right is Marcus Lodwick. Marcus works here at the SAG Foundation. Why don't you tell people what you do?
Well, I'm the technical production manager. I help out by running the events here, doing some live stream stuff, and handling anything techie that comes along. I started as a film editor and motion graphics artist, and I'm very adept at things like Final Cut and Adobe After Effects and that kind of thing. And I'm just generally good at technical things, so I got a lot of experience with websites and figuring out how things work. So.
And the handsome gentleman that you see on the screens remotely, I have no idea where he is. He's in some...
He's in the cloud.
He's in some... Yeah, he's in the cloud. If you want to know where the cloud is, it's where David Cosgrove is. So, David, why don't you join us and tell us who you are and what you do?
Hey guys, thank you very much for having me here. My name is David Cosgrove. I am broadcasting to you live from Connecticut, 3 hours in the future.
He knows what the lottery numbers are.
Yes, I do. I've been developing websites for 19 years now, going from Mosaic all the way up to, mobile websites now. Pretty much been freelancing for 9 years after a brief stint in corporate America, which thankfully didn't agree with me, so here I am. And yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
What part of Connecticut are you in?
I'm in Terriffill, which is 10 minutes away from Bradley International Airport.
Very nice. Very nice, up in Hartford. All right, so we're going to leave plenty of time for questions. We already have some questions that have been submitted. What I'd like to do is just go down the same panel and let them either show you some slides, make some statements, rant, etc. My background in all of this, as I said, was with ARPA in the very beginning, and going back to the numbers of CompuServe and IBM 360s mainframes back in the day, and I mean the day, not 8 years ago, but the day. And I was really lucky to have been asked to write one of the very first best-selling books on HTML. I have not taken this book out in years, but this is Learn HTML on the Macintosh, and I went through it today. I wrote this in 1997, and I went through it today to see just how much is still relevant. And it's amazing how, HTML 3.0 still works just fine. Everybody kind of hates tables. But other than that, anchor tags and everything that's the basis of HTML is still part of the zeitgeist of HTML. As we moved into HTML5 is very advanced compared to where 1 and 3 was. But then we also have much bigger demands on us and more technology that we can insert into websites and use. The one thing that I want to be clear about as you decide what you're going to do for your website is to A, not overbuild your website, B, determine who your audience is and then super serve that audience. So is your site going to be a fan site, or is your site going to be a business-to-business site that's aimed at casting directors? And if so, make sure that you keep that very clear when you do your design. And then the third part is don't overpay, unless you have to. Don't overpay in that if if you understand some of this and want to take some of the learning and get a new skill in your life, you'd be surprised how satisfying that can be for some people. But don't overpay for either that knowledge or the service to get that done. And I think Alan might have some things to say about that as well. So please pay attention to that second piece, the understanding your audience and rising the information. There's a phrase called rising the information through the architecture. How many of you have had to search all over a website trying to figure out how to contact people, right? You know, usually people that are used to working with websites will drop immediately down to the bottom of a website and they'll find the contact us or about link, right? But it still sometimes is really difficult to find things, and especially if you're working with a site where you basically want to get a casting director, your headshot, your resume, see your reels, hear your VO reels, putting it all on the same page above the fold, not cool and deep and pop up and all kinds of other things, but actually give them the opportunity to get your stuff as quickly as possible, really pays attention to their needs, because as casting directors, time is money, right? And if they can find your stuff quickly, that means they'll be able to get to you quickly and decide whether or not to bring you in. So that's just the biggest thing I want to share with you before we get going. So Gavin, you can, yeah, we need the clicker. There you go.
Well, this is just so I don't get nervous, because unlike all you actors, let's see if we've got slides. Casey,
He's going to put it up.
Slides.
There we go.
Oh, that's fantastic. There. This is one of the things I want to say right up front is, if you've got like a lot of fancy flash animations on your website, the guy won't be able to see them on his iPhone or his iPad or anything. All right, it's just a little helpful piece of advice. You know, it was all the rage a few years ago. Maybe you haven't looked at your website on an iPad ever, but this is like true.
And isn't it important to note that iOS is sort of what people have chosen for professional mobile devices in the industry?
I think it has a big edge
even
in
though
Hollywood.
there are
Yeah,
Android.
Android phones are very popular out in the big world, but in the industry, iOS really is a super majority. Let's see, come on, there we go. iPhones, sorry.
Yeah, iOS, iPhones,
iPads,
iPod Touches, the Apple devices.
So I just skipped my intro, and I think you should too. So if you've got a website that says skip intro before people can get to the actual content that's meaningful, why don't you do it for them, okay? I have one top secret tip for internet success. You're all here to have that one. There's no secret. There is a way of being, and the way you want to be is you want to be valuable, and you want to be findable. So what does it mean to be valuable on the internet? Hold your microphone closer. And that's actually what it is. It's sharing where you got the stuff that's good for you. You know, share where you got something. Don't keep it to yourself. You want to be able to publish stuff about yourself, stuff about what was meaningful to you. Oh, come on. Technology. I hate technology. Like that. Share your passions, right? If something really inspired you, if something really pissed you off, make sure that you let the people who are curious about you, interested in you, the people you want to engage with, feel what you're feeling, okay? If it costs you something to understand something about your craft, about your career, about the industry, about life, you want to share that stuff as well. Because people read that and go, oh, yeah, that was really valuable. And it may have cost you quite a lot to acquire that wisdom, whatever it may be, like how to ace every audition you go to, for example. But it doesn't really cost you anything to give it away. Maybe that one. But most things, it doesn't really cost you that much to share your insights with the world. And it makes you valuable to the world. And that's what the internet is. It's the world in a lot of ways. Come on. And you're connected to other people. And you want to be able to help people connect with each other. So share that as well. You know, help other actors and promote the art itself. You know, I've had about a half a dozen full-time salary jobs in the last 17 years, but I have helped dozens and dozens and dozens of people find jobs or find people to hire. You know, and I do this because it doesn't really cost me very much. I like talking to people. I like meeting people. I like learning new things. And I like hooking people up with gigs, right? And, you know, every once in a great while, you know, I hope 1% of the time, I might need a gig myself. And if I've helped a lot of people, they're eager to help me. They're glad to help me. It's like, oh yeah, Gavin, he told me about this guy, and that guy was fantastic. You know, I'd love to work with Gavin. So, you know, and I think that goes tenfold in the entertainment industry compared to the technology industry. So you definitely want to be giving more stuff away than you're trying to get from the internet. The other thing is to be findable. You know, how do people find each other? Well, I mean, the first thing they do is they're in the phone book. They're in a directory of some kind. You're in the Academy Players Guide. You're on IMDb. You're easy to find that way. And the other way is people search for you. So are you findable on the internet? You know, are you Googleable? Are you
That's a very selfless slide.
I just...
You would think that Google would be on there somewhere.
Just made me a little sick to see that there.
I'm just holding back.
Next to you.
I'm holding back. It's okay. All right. So you want you want to be findable. You want to be, if someone searches for you on the internet using their search engine of choice, do you show up? Come on. And in the case of web search, a word is worth 1,000 pictures. Harrison Ford, the words, is a lot easier for a computer to find than a picture of Harrison Ford. We do that work in the LA office of Google. We actually will search for content and images, but it's a lot more work for the computer. Don't make more work for the computers. We're just busy enough. But it's also a lot more accurate, okay? So make sure that the words that you wish to be found by are present in your web presence, whether it's your website or the other forms of communication that you might do on the internet.
So just as a practical matter, don't create an image that has words in the image. Put an image up and put a caption up, right? Don't put like you see on, iCan has cheeseburger, all of the pictures of cats with, oh, is that for me's? Don't do that. Put a caption underneath so that people can find you.
Yeah.
Right?
It was very popular with web designers for a long time, particularly ones coming with print, to use a picture of text so they could get exactly the typeface that they wanted in the web page. Web browsers nowadays can actually handle multiple typefaces, somewhat better than they used to be able to, so you want to have real text on your web page. The other way that people find you is other people point you out. There's David, there's Marcus, there's Teresa? Ellen Trainer.
Close.
There's Ellen Trainer there. And that's how the web works too. The more people who point to you, the easier you are to be found. Okay? That's actually the secret sauce behind Google. That's the fundamental insight of Larry Page, who invented the PageRank algorithm, not named after web pages, but named after Larry Page. The number of pages that point to a given page is a good indicator of the quality of the page being pointed to. All right? So you want to be findable. You want to be pointed at by other sites across the internet.
And if you want to find out who is actually linking to your site, you can actually use Google to do that, right? What is the format
Google
of search?
well, there's Google Analytics. I'm not sure about there's an actual reverse search you can do to see.
Yeah, reverse search.
But you can use Google for everything. I mean, doesn't it run everybody's life?
I got a hamburger today because of Google.
Actually, I have an app for that. I just run it.
I got a
up my
hamburger today
stomach
because of
and-
Google too, but
But he made it for you special, and it was umami, so yeah.
And the last thing is, where does everyone find you at home? This is your own website. This is the ground truth for you as a brand on the internet. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about your personal website. But you want that to be the thing that comes up to the top of the list, probably, because that's the place that you can actually control. This is the place where you have your headshots, your select reel, your blog. You want to keep it clean and beautiful. We're going to talk about that a lot. And put yourself in easy reach, which is don't bury your contact link. Don't make it hard to find out the things that people who are in a hurry looking at you on their iPhone might want to find, okay? So don't clutter up your site with a lot of junk that isn't the killer content. You know, similarly, if you've got a lot of video or some really big images and they look great and you want to make them available on the internet, that's fine. But make sure that people understand that when they're going to click on that, then they're going to see the big site. Don't make them wait for a giant download. And on a cell phone, a giant download can be kind of a small file that you wouldn't think about when you're on the regular internet on a desktop web browser. Come on. Battery is dying. There. The other thing is you want to be everywhere. Okay? You don't want to just be a website in the wilderness hoping that people will find you. You know, yeah, Google will index your page, and if you've got a really weird name like, oh, I don't know, Gavin Dowdy, you come right to the top, no problem. But for the rest of you, you really want to be everywhere an actor should be. So you want to make sure your IMDb page is up to date. IMDb is pretty good about letting you contribute accuracy to their site. That's a whole other discussion, but you want to do as much as you can to be properly visible on IMDb. You want to maintain a Facebook fan page if you've got fans. If you're that sort of person, you certainly want to have your personal Facebook page be meaningful to the people who want to be friends with you. And up to 5,000 people, sure, whatever. Tumblr is a good way to maintain kind of a lightweight personal blog and say this is what's going on with me, and here's some nice pictures, and to have it look pretty good. Twitter is a terrific way of having little constant updates. Hey, public, this is something cool. I'm sharing something valuable with you. Here's a link, you know. If every once in a while one of those links points to your one-man show, sure, great. Same with Pinterest. My wife, you know, when the baby's asleep and my wife isn't in bed, she's looking at Pinterest, you know, which is a way of curating photographs of neat things that you've seen on the web. And if you're one of those neat things, great. But if you share a bunch of neat things, then people get an idea of who you are. Same with a Vimeo account or a YouTube account. There are different ways of putting video of yourself on the web or linking to other video that's interesting. You can maintain a YouTube channel and say, well, these are the kinds of things that I think I want to have associated with me as videos. And you can also have a Google Plus account. There's my 1% coming back. Yeah. And maintain a Google Plus page, which is similar to a Facebook fan page, where you can have many thousands of people following you, and you can also control how you communicate with people. You can group people into circles and say, I'm going to just contact the people in this group today, or this group or that group, and they'll be able to see what you're up to. So you want to be all over the place. You also want to be all over the place when other people are using IMDb and Facebook and Tumblr and Twitter and Pinterest and whatever. Twiddler.
Yeah.
Twiddler. Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's also important to point out here that this is the list as of when we're taping this.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to change next month,
It's
next
a moving
year.
target. Just be ready
Absolutely.
for that, and don't bitch and moan
Yeah.
about it, because it's the way it is.
Yeah, Google Plus will be up higher though, right?
Oh, will it?
Of course.
Okay, good. Yeah, I heard IMDb is shaking in their boots over Google Plus.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is you want to be everywhere, and you want to communicate everywhere, and you want to say, you know, attaboy, when you see some other actors they're announcing their one-man show, or that they've been in a student film that they think came out well, you're just like, oh yeah, great, I saw that on YouTube, that was terrific. You know, and even if you know them slightly or not at all, you just like their work.
Let me just add one caveat. This is really important, and it's just sort of reared its ugly head in the last 6 or 8 months. Do not be verbose about auditions, about bookings, about pins, avails, working on set. Wait until it's on the air. Then go crazy about it. I have watched 4 people get fired from working for being socially network active, because producers have come to the conclusion, as we knew they all would eventually after they stopped playing with social networks and with websites, that opening the kimono and revealing plot points and revealing anything is not necessarily conducive to good storytelling, unless they want you to. I just recently did a Subway web series where I asked the people from Subway and the people, do you want me to tweet about this? Yeah, let me just see what you're tweeting first. But for the most part, when you get work, keep your mouth and your fingers shut. Then when it's on television, go crazy. Even the day, like don't say tune in tonight at 9 o'clock. After it comes out, just be patient. Take Michael Kostroff's advice and don't talk about what you've gotten. Let people surprise you with, oh my gosh, you were on television. tonight. That's fantastic. It's amazing how much better that feels than trying to promote your work in the hopes that casting directors will be following you on Twitter or Facebook and will go, oh, let me bring that person in for the producer's session because they're going to be on Rizzoli and Isles tonight. I'm telling you, it's important to your career and to the efficacy of that career. Okay? Cool.
A strong warning. But it's true. I think you can't mess with other people's windows. Casey, can you just...
There we go.
There we go. There's a few links that I just wanted to throw up. I think Casey had those on the web browser. Just examples that I wanted to show. Like, just click on that first one. I didn't put any bad actor websites, and I don't know this actor, and I don't know if she's even a skillful actor. She probably is, but
She was just here a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Well, it's a great website. It's just it's an example of what I would call like a clean information in front website.
Can we see it?
Can we show that, Casey?
Okay, here we go. Whoa.
Here we go. And could you make that window a little bigger? Now, this wouldn't necessarily play that well on a mobile device, but if you scroll down, you see her. She's got a few looks going on. Can you scroll down to the bottom a little bit? Not an overabundance of gigantic images. Like, there's 3 nice big ones, and then there's links. And then you see right up front, she's got links to IMDb, Twitter, YouTube, and her agents. Right? No problem getting a hold of this person. Hopefully, she has text behind these image links, but since I know the designer, she probably did that. And let's see, can we flip over to the next tab? The Zoe's Miscellany. This is Zoe Deschanel's Tumblr blog, and she just posts stuff that people might be interested in seeing. And this is just an example of a Tumblr blog, and it happens to be for someone that's pretty well known. Flip over to the next tab. It won't take long. Almost done. This is WordPress.com. They'll host your blog for free. You can pay them money and get it under a custom domain name and so on. And if you don't have advertising, it doesn't cost that much. And it's also a very nice way to set up a website. We'll talk about that a lot, I'm sure, as we get into the actual building stuff. And then if you want to learn more about boosting your search ranking, if you click on the next tab, this is the entry point for the Google Webmasters site, and it has a lot of educational resources and ways of keeping track of your website. So as you if you want to become more proficient in managing your website and managing the way you show up in search, there's a lot of information here. There are no shortcuts, there's no secret sauce, there's none of this junk that a lot of people run around saying, I can get you up to the top of the Google search listings. Well, if your site's really terrible, maybe they can help you a lot. But the right way to do it is to get a lot of people linking to you and to provide value to the rest of the world. And then there's some other website building sites like Moonfruit and Wix and Squarespace that for a small fee or sometimes no fee, you'll be able to do a do-it-yourself website. And they come out looking pretty nice. And it's often better than unless you're a gearhead, trying to learn all this construction and design from square one yourself.
We go to the next 2 tabs. We have some people that are asking what Wix is, W-I-X. Wix uses Flash, so be careful about that. They do have, if you search long enough, you can also build your site as an alternate for iOS devices and non-Flash devices, but you have to know to go and do that. And then SquareSite is the other one that you're Squarespace?
Squarespace is another build it yourself. And that's just their homepage. So these are just examples of, I'm sure there are others, and these other guys may know quite a few more. So
there's also about.com, or not about.com, what's AOL's homepage site? About.me, that's right. So there's also, mentioned earlier, any of the numerous social networks that you can just hang out on and make that your homepage if you want to. And then there are services that will help you do this. How many of you are deathly afraid of doing this work? Of like, you just would rather put sharp sticks in your eyes? Yeah? Okay. That's not, own that. Use it. Use it tomorrow when you go in for Rizzoli and Isles, and you'll be fine. Is there more?
No, that was it. I just wanted to show those links. So that was the end of my stuff.
And one of those places that you can go if you are deathly afraid is to Ellen's site. So Ellen, why don't you take over?
Oh, thank you very much. My goodness. I just feel, thank you so much for everything you say. Everything you say is what I always say to people who come to me. So thank you for that. I like to make sure that you know who you are, how you are unique, and how you can provide value in the world, obviously. So as you're an actor, the most important things you need to have some sort of photographs of yourself, your bio, your resume, your contact information. If you have a great reel, put that on there. If it's 20 minutes long, don't put that on there. Have it be less than 2 minutes if you can. It's ideal if you're getting started to just think about who your audience is and tailor what you are putting out on the web to your audience directly. So who is your audience? Casting directors who will give you jobs, right? Yes? I talk to some people and they say, well, I want to provide some information. I'm like, no, you want to get a job. So for casting directors, they want to know who you are, what you can do, can they bring you in tomorrow for this particular job? So they want to get there within 3 clicks. Never have it be more than 3 clicks. Skip the intro, thank you. It's always going to be skipped. So get there within 3 clicks. And if you can break up your reel into commercial, drama, possibly comedy, however you think put your best work forward. And if you have that on your homepage, great. If they have to click once to find it, that's fine. But have it be embedded in there so that it'll play quickly and somebody doesn't have to download some file because everyone's going to get nervous about that. So sites like Vimeo and embeds from Vimeo are great.
Yep.
YouTube.
Ellen, let me just show you how visceral this actually is, this click rule. Since the late 80s, when America Online was called Apple Link Personal Edition and Quantum before that, they've been doing focus group studies on how distracted people get when they have to click and how much of the audience you lose when you make them click to another level. That's going back to rising the information in the architecture and get it as quickly as possible. 50% on average. 1 click costs you half your audience. Now, those of you that had trouble with math, 3 clicks leaves you with 12.5% of the original audience. So instead of making them find your stuff, if you just put it there and they don't have to click at all, well, look at you, Pikachu. You have 100% of your audience as opposed to 12.5%. Okay?
There's also been studies that show every 100 milliseconds of latency, which is the time it takes for that page to load, you lose people as well, and it's measurable.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for illuminating the math involved with that.
That's
Thank
my
you
job.
very much. So really, the casting directors who are going to call you in for the audition, the directors and the producers who are going to hire you, right? So we know the different audiences. We really want to get you in the room for that job that day as soon as possible. They don't want to search under a lot of places to find you. If your agent calls and recommends you for a job, they want to be able to find something very, very quickly. So I always recommend bio, resume, all the important things. And then what you said about providing value, I always recommend to my clients that in corporate America, they call it corporate social responsibility. It sort of means you're being good. You know, you're doing good things and giving back to the community. And I always recommend that because it reveals what your passion is. If you love rescuing dogs, let's hear about that. If whatever it is that you're doing that's good for the community. And everyone has a passion that they're doing as well. So share that with everyone, and you probably will find other kindred spirits who love that. It also helps in terms of PR for crisis management, just in case any celebrities have ever gotten involved in compromising situations. We all can point to a few of those. It kind of shows that you're a good person, you're a good celebrity. Oh, well, we'll forgive them that little indiscretion because they're actually a really good person. I hope you didn't have this problem. I just hope you didn't have a problem you had to explain. So I really like focused, clean, simple. Show why you're unique, why you can be hired tomorrow, and make it easy to find and super, super clean, easy navigable. All the things that you've been saying. So thank you.
Yeah, sure. It's interesting the idea of being active in the community and having something that people can sort of, hang their hat on about what a great person you are. If you choose to put your Twitter feed on your webpage, remember that as you start posting drunkenly. Seriously, because, you know, being splayed out in the parking lot, you know, face down and twitting that because you thought it was just fantastic and funny and so on, that could show up in front of a casting director who's like, do I want this person on set? Do I want this person splayed out on Sunset Gower trying to figure out where the stage is? Maybe not. So just be careful.
But definitely be careful of that. The last piece is what I call the 3 Fs, sort of the friends, family, and fans. So you need to have some place on your website that friends, family, and fans can get in contact with you. Fans can engage with you. I have clients that like to post little videos, and so that the fans have an inside scoop on whatever celebrity is up to. And that gives them more reason to come back to your website. You keep the content fresh, you keep something available for your fans, they find a way to engage with you, whether they sign up for your newsletter or they become subscribers to your Twitter feed or whatever it is. I always say make sure that you're addressing that. Address the casting directors and the producers first, because that's where you're getting your jobs, but also have another place that's fun for friends and family and fans so that they can connect with you.
Great. Marcus?
All right. Well, everybody's made really great points so far, so I'm going to just elaborate on a couple of them that were already done. But the point about being valuable is probably the most important thing, I think. Basically having a lot of people following you, you know, your Twitters, your YouTubes, liking your videos, these types of stats and stuff are what is going to help sell you to producers and to casting agents and stuff. They want to be able to see that you're not just acting in this role, you're also bringing some marketing potential to the job, you know. So it's really important to be a part of web communities and establish a presence. And you know that as you're going to be a public figure, you know, you're sharing your life with these people through your work and through whatever else you choose to share with them. So while you're sharing all this stuff, you might as well ask people to like your videos and stuff, be direct with them, get support, and contribute in other ways, in other web communities and forums and stuff like that. You know, and just establish a presence and stuff so that people will learn about you and then, you know, come back and see your sites and then contribute to those numbers that make you so valuable. Something about like joining a forum or something like that, you find, you know, that you have special interests and hobbies and stuff, and you start, you know, posting on forums about that, you can put a little signature that links back to your website. All of those links count towards your page rank and stuff like that to help bring your presence, your internet personality up to the top. It's really important on all these individual sites like Twitter and Facebook and all of these different things to link to all of the different services that you've signed up for. So your Twitter has a link to your Facebook. Your Twitter has a link to your website. And everything cross-links. The more cross-linking, the better. By joining all these different web communities and forums and stuff like that, other people, you know, every time you post a response and stuff, that stuff is going to be seen by people. People are going to click it. It's going to help. Every little bit helps, you know? So that's about being valuable. About different web resources, I'd like to add to the list Google Sites, which you didn't mention, but that's a free Google sponsored website creation engine. It's fairly easy to use. They have templates and stuff. You can just kind of, once you sign up for it, you click it, you pick a template, and then you just start adding text and images and stuff. It's a very basic, easy way to get into it. But in Google Sites.
There's also blogger.com.
Blogger.com for your blogs. And the great thing about Blogger is you can easily manage multiple blogs. I know somebody wrote in and asked this question onto the live stream email about, you know, what if I want to talk about something radically different from what my blog is normally about? Well, you can just create multiple blogs, you know, and you can cross-post little things like, oh, I've updated this on my other blog, you know, if you want to read that story. But you don't have to go into a huge amount of depth and, you know, bore people who may not be interested in that particular
I would actually be careful about that. You know, certainly leave that for fans if they want to find out more about you, but be careful about giving people who could give you work an opportunity to say no, right? Be careful about being, I mean, I remember when I was working in radio as a morning guy, a fairly controversial thing came up, and I was working on a more music station, not a talk station. And I took a side, and my program director pointed out that you've just alienated 50% of your audience, because the people that don't agree with you just tuned in to the other people who are playing music rather than listening to you rant about something. So certainly nobody's saying don't have opinions, but understand that, you know, there's a place for professional space and there's a place for your personal thoughts and ideas, and one could very negatively affect the other. So be careful in that space about cross-linking between your radical ideas about, you know, decriminalizing marijuana and, you know, your ideas about being an actor. So
it's basically what you would say to somebody, you know, you just met. You're trying to make a good first impression with them. You don't, you know, you definitely take care in what you're saying and stuff. But if you have a fun, interesting hobby, you like to rock climb, you like taking photography or something like that, you could have a photography blog and just showcase different work and stuff like that. So there's that. And then basically everybody always asks, like, what software do you want to use, like, to do this? There is an infinite number of softwares out there that can get the job done. Some of them are expensive, paid, professional software. Some of them are free, alternative softwares. You know, everybody's like, well, I can't afford to buy Photoshop. Well, there's GIMP. There's other free image editing tools that you can use to retouch your photos and stuff like that. And, you know, it's just, you know, a matter of searching and finding what resources are out there. By joining communities online with these particular hobbies, you know, as the center, you'll find what other people are going to like and what they recommend.
And if you happen to get good, the work really is nicer than flipping burgers.
Yes. Yes, you could definitely use the skills that you develop in a number of ways. And then, you know, Google or other search engines, you can use them. You can use Google modifiers to help search and refine what you're searching for. Whenever I'm trying to learn a new topic, like I don't know anything about, you know, this type of programming language or HTML or something like that, you know, and I want to start looking for, oh, what editor should I use to start doing that? The first thing I start doing is just a very careful search where I, you know, you put quotation marks around what you're looking for, or this is my favorite tip, is you can narrow what Google's looking at by putting site at the front, and then a colon, and then a website that's a particular resource in a different area. For example, lifehacker.com is like a personal motivation, efficiency type website, and that's all they do is just post these types of tips, list the 5 best free softwares for this, the 5 best editing tools, narrow my search to that and search for HTML editor. And then I'll get these nice little stories with comments and people who are talking and telling you the pros and the cons for this particular niche and stuff. This is how I start my research when I'm starting to do something new that I'm trying to learn. So I think it's really important to learn how to use those modifiers to be able to use search engines properly with quotation marks, minus modifiers to exclude things that keep coming up. And earlier we said something about, you know, you lose half your audience after one click. It's the same thing, like how many of you guys, when you're searching for something, go beyond the first page? You know, how many of you go 5 pages deep? You know, if you don't know how to refine the search and stuff, you're not going to get the best results on that first page. So you have to look deeper, and by looking deeper, you may find additional terms and ways that you can, you know, modify your search to be able to find better information. There's going to be a whole list. If you just Google or Bing or whatever,
Google.com.
Actually, click on the link that's next to the search box that says Advanced Search.
That will also give you
You
some
will
cool
be
modifiers.
shocked at the things that you'll find in there. There's a cute little cat in there. There's a hamburger in there. There's a lot of different ways that you can use Google to be much more efficient about your searching. You know,
You should also search for the word askew. I'm just saying, ASKEW.
And then just a couple words about Reels and video content. Reels, what's great about the internet and your website is you have control over what you're displaying. You make a main reel, a 2-minute or less reel. Most people, the producers, they'll only watch the first, you know, bit of the first one, and they'll skip ahead. And you know, if you know, you just want to keep it really short and simple. But then you can also keep links to other reels, dramatic reels, comedy reels, whatever niche you want. Like if you did a whole bunch of stuff on CSI, you might have a CSI reel, you know, and you don't need to have them all on your main page, but a way for them to get to it from your main page, a nice, simple, clean link that, you know, here's my main reel, here are some other reels that you might like, you know? And then just content in general, people are always wondering like, well, how do I get these fans? How do I, you know, make a viral YouTube video? Here's how I think it works. But people make short skits about current news. If you're reading and keeping up to date with things that are going on in the world, you can make content relevant to that. You post that to YouTube, and then you use tags. At the bottom of the description, below where you enter your description, you also use tags. Tag it with good tag words. That's, you know, if someone's searching for some random news story item, they're going to get a much higher chance to see your video if that tag is relevant to that search that they would be doing to try to find more information. So by doing that, that's how you get a whole bunch of people to click on your content. And once they like one of your videos, they're more likely to start looking at your other ones. And, you know, and that's how it starts. So that's what I have to say.
If you get millions and millions of views, you can make your living off of it.
Yeah, and you should definitely, if you're definitely interested in making money back, like you should put AdWords on your website or your blog. You should put, you should enable the YouTube ads feature on there. Because I know that, I think I heard that YouTube's already paid out, I think, over 1,000 people with over $100,000 just in ad revenue for people who...
Some are making $100,000 per month.
Yeah,
However,
it's amazing.
I would be very careful about putting ads on your professional
Absolutely.
website
Thank
aimed
you.
at the industry.
Thank you.
My daughter is a beauty blogger, and she's not going to need money from me for college. She's been doing it since she's 13, and she's actually a production partner with Google, with YouTube, which is fantastic. A couple things that go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you're absolutely right. I mean, if you want to have a YouTube presence, which is different from your acting career presence, then you can run ads and get revenue from it. Sure. But you're absolutely right. You don't want to have some ad come up in the middle of someone watching your reel.
Right. Two things that Marcus brought up I want to sort of touch on. First of all, he talked about cross-linking and being in various places around the web, all of the different networks. Also, Gavin talked about that. Take advantage of this phrase. Work once, use many. Work once, use many. The biggest problem I have with Google Plus right now is that there is no API to feed from Twitter or from Facebook posts to Google Plus.
That's because we don't want that stream to be really spammy.
I understand.
Which is what happens with the Facebook feed.
So,
but you can go the other way.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't want to do that. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. This morning, I tweeted about this Life Raft event. I got probably 20, 30 responses on Twitter, but because I've also enabled the Facebook feed from my Twitter posts, so what I typed into Twitter was instantly fed to my Facebook timeline. I got another 40 responses from the people who follow me on Facebook. Now on Twitter I have, I don't know, close to 10,000 followers. On Facebook I've hit my limit of 5,000 friends, 4,800 of which I really don't know all that well. But thank you. The point is, if you just figure out little tiny tricks like that to be able to enable the work that you do on one service to be fed to another, you will then not have fatigue over using those services. Like, oh, I got to post on Twitter, then I got to post on Facebook, then Pinterest and Google+. You'll stop doing it. You'll face fatigue in that space. The other thing I wanted to mention was the idea that you had come up with. You'd mentioned very briefly about different services to use, and we haven't mentioned yet WordPress. WordPress has come out of nowhere in terms of an easy-to-use structure for building websites and for changing those websites on the fly, adding plugins to them that allow you to add all kinds of functionality that is appropriate for an actor's website. Do investigate WordPress. It was mentioned briefly about WordPress.com that you can host your site there. But if you have space on GoDaddy or Bluehost or DreamHost or any of the hosting services, usually there's a one-click install to put WordPress itself on your site and build your site from there. And I cannot tell you what a joy it is to work with that community. The WordPress community is open source. It is, for the most part, free. I've purchased many plugins that cost money and make money for me, but there are so many free plugins for it that do things for you. If you go down that path of building your own site, it's certainly something to pay attention to. WordPress.
Yeah, I use it for my personal blog
Yep.
as well, and I could write my own, but that's not what I want to do.
Right.
May I just also piggyback on a comment that you made about searching and things like that, searching. So the mistake I think that a lot of actors make is that they say, oh, well, I want to be found as you know, the actor in LA that plays a lawyer. You know what? The casting directors are probably not doing a Google search on actors who play lawyers. So don't use those phrases. Use words and phrases that are really specific and unique to you. Chances are the director isn't going to stumble across you like you know, the big discovery in the past. They're not going to run into you at Cantor's Deli and suddenly hire you for a movie. And they're probably not going to stumble upon your website. But be more specific in your search terms and be more specific in your content, something that makes you unique. So if it's voiceover that you specialize in, make sure that that's part of your search terms. If you specialize in, if you have a background of playing on a particular show, like you mentioned the CSIs, so make sure that your search terms are more specific, and make sure that you have your name in all of your tags so that if someone's actually searching for you, they can find you very, very easily. Sometimes you can search on somebody and it is on the second or third page because they've buried it in their website mistakenly behind photographs and pictures that cannot be found. So my recommendation on search terms is be specific about who you are and the kinds of roles you play, and not whimsical and quirky or whatever. Make sure that it's specific to the types of roles that you want to play in the future. I think it's great to mention that. Go ahead and put that library of clips that you have from that series that you did or that movie that you did, but also position yourself for the roles that you want to play in the future. So if you're done playing the cop and now you want to play the, I don't know, the judge.
Middle-aged software developer.
You want to play the middle-aged software developer? Well, he's right out of central casting.
Huge demand for that.
Exactly. I don't think he's middle-aged, but I'm just thrilled to be here next to
So
you.
take a page out of what Ellen's saying and what Marcus is saying, and a page out of Breakdown Services.
Exactly.
Your brand is what you're going to be displaying here, and you got to start thinking like a marketer. So get in the position where you can fall in love with marketing terms like brand and positioning and things like that. And understand that if you go through a course like Sam Christensen's, how many of you have done image with Sam Christensen? Awesome, okay. Right? Yeah. So you have these phrases that you came out with, and some of them are kind of goofy, but, for example, mine is Paul Giamatti meets Uncle Fester, right? Am I right? Yes, I am. Okay. So, and that survived Sam's process. So that's all over my material. Every card I give out has that on there. And reinforcing that over and over again is important. So the page to take out of with Breakdown Services is, how many of you know about the clips that you can attach to the individual pieces of your resume? So if you were on CSI, instead of it being buried third on your drama reel, because it was a real short one and you had a better one from Rizzoli and Isles, as we all know you're going to book tomorrow. I don't know why I keep mentioning Rizzoli and Isles. But the idea is to split them up into individual clips so that if the casting director is looking for a particular type of part on your site that you have played already, say it is the judge or the cop, instead of making them wait even 30 seconds to get to that clip in your reel, they can instantly click on it from one of the thumbnails on your page. So put your reels up, and then below, you want to see me as a judge, want to see me as a cop, want to see me as a crack whore, I'm here.
Exactly.
The web equivalent of the old composite.
Yes, exactly. May I just tell a little story about brand? You talked about marketing terms, and I adore these marketing terms because I've lived in and around them for a million years. So the idea of brand, can I tell a quick story where it came from?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So brand, the idea of a brand. You are a brand. You are a unique brand. You have something unique to offer in the world. And where that term came from, originally brand, you think of the cow, right? The cow is branded by the owner as an identification point for that brand. Actually, the term in the marketing world came from Procter & Gamble, because in Procter & Gamble, they used to ship out their little bars of Ivory soap in a square crate, and they branded it. If you're all on Google right now anyway, go ahead and Google P&G original logo, Moon and Stars brand. And they branded that on the side of the carton, so the people in transportation knew, oh, here's the soap that's coming through. And one day they didn't brand it, and they were refused. The shipments were refused, and the marketers at P&G said, that's important. The fact that we had a brand on the side of that box, that's important. So P&G said, let's develop a brand. So they started developing, and of course, they've changed it several times, but that's where the original idea from brand comes from. But starts thinking of yourself as a brand, and what is it unique about you that you have that you can brand?
Mr. Cosgrove, do you have anything to add?
You guys have done an outstanding and thorough job. I'm hard-pressed to come up with too much else to tell.
Oh, give it a shot. Give it an old Connecticut try.
We'll give it a shot here. I guess maybe talking about video hosting. I guess you guys touched upon YouTube and Vimeo. YouTube, especially from a mobile perspective, YouTube and Vimeo will both work on the iOS from a
At least for now.
engine optimization. Oh, yeah, exactly. From a search engine optimization perspective, I'd probably lean more towards going with YouTube since it's a Google property. This way you have your opportunity to go in, tag your individual YouTube clips. Like you guys were saying, you have your CSI clip, you have your butcher clip, or whatever else you're going to be. This way it makes it a lot easier for everybody to find it. And as far as embedding those clips onto your website, if you can copy and paste, you're good to go. You touched upon WordPress, WordPress.org self-install. You can go. There are several out-of-the-box themes. A great resource for WordPress.org themes is themeforest.net. You guys might want to check that out. Very inexpensive.
What he said was themeforest.net. You also might want to check out Elegant Themes. That's a great site. And there are a bunch of others. Woo, what is it? Woo sites? Woo themes? WOO? Yeah, there's a lot. Google themes for WordPress or WordPress themes. Go ahead.
Yeah, the alternative there also, and I have some slides that hopefully we can take a look at. We can even go into making custom themes to really extend your branding and really take advantage of the built-in content management system. So if you have here we go. I see. Okay, here's the opening slide. Here's my propaganda slide with me, and this is some stuff off my website here. If we move on to the second slide here, there we go. Here's a custom design for Lou Park of KTLA. And this website, if you check out her site, every page is really individually designed. There's not really kind of a template or just one unique theme to this site. The About Lou page is branded differently than the home page, and the journalist page is branded differently, et cetera, et cetera. This way to kind of really hit each niche within what she's trying to do to market herself there.
And David, you can see some of the examples that the people on the panel were talking about. Not only do you get a very quick summary of who she is and what her claims to fame are, but you also have that nice little piece there about the Lou Parker Project, which is dedicated to homeless animals and puppy mills, right? Who's gonna reject her for something for being against puppy mills?
But it looks like she's wearing some sort of animal skin, so I'm not
No,
quite sure.
no.
I'm kidding.
That is pure polyester.
Kidding.
Nothing there that's animal. All right, go ahead, David.
Let's accessible: IMDb, Facebook, Twitter. He makes it easy for you to subscribe to his newsletter, and depending on what you want to look at. Oh, here's photos. There's one click, boom, and you right at them. Let's keep going. Let's look at the next one. Here's Jennifer Taylor, formerly of 2.5 Men fame. This is her contact page. This is a good example of, we made it easy for fans to contact her. We just put a simple contact form here. And as far as, industry standard, we kept her management and agents information on the page too, so it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal.
And notice something about this design. This is total visual branding. She is inviting, she's sort of squatting, saying, hey, call me, write me, talk to my representation. And in the background is a different contrasting photo that reinforces her brand. The photorealism of this design is really striking. You're getting multiple moments of who Jennifer Taylor is. And what are you selling? There's not a single person in this room that's like, I don't look good on camera. You do look good in whatever brand you're in, right? Do not be afraid to make your sites photorealistic. In the old days, it would have taken forever for these backgrounds to download. They would have painted. It would have been horrible. But these come up very quickly, and you should think very carefully about making sure that Chris's site just before that, man, you look at that image, you know exactly who he is, and you know exactly whether you, as a casting director, can include him or exclude him from a casting session, right? He's not coming in for the crack whore, but he is coming in for the thug. Yeah? Am I wrong? All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, right on. Jennifer Taylor. Here we go, Protazio. This website is actually built with WordPress. This is a totally custom design that I did for him. This allows him to go into the back end of WordPress, the content management system, and when he wants to update his biography, he can go in, click on the visual editor tab, update his text, hit the big blue update button, and there's no need to call me up and say, hey Dave, I need to make some updates on my website, which is the big strategy of why we went forward with WordPress for him. Again, we have all of his socials handled up here in the upper right-hand corner: IMDb, Facebook, Twitter. MySpace, I'm not sure why he included that, but
Because of the music.
Yep.
Yeah, possibly.
Plus, he needs a sandwich. Let's get this guy some pasta. Notice the one link that says EPK. Does anybody not know what EPK stands for? It's Electronic Press Kit. Electronic Press Kit. So it's sort of a combination. Rather than just showing your work, you're showing what you would use if you were to send something off to Entertainment Tonight to get booked on them. You want to book Protazio because he is X, Y, and Z and is going to be in the following show, and here's his background, here's his training, and so on. I imagine if you click on that EPK, you're going to get a video that shows how he got where he is, right? That's what an EPK is all about. So think about creating an electronic press kit for yourself. Downloadable PDFs of your resume, all in one fell swoop. Reels, background, training, headshots, etc. Your voiceover reels, and so on. Go ahead, David.
All right. Okay, let's move forward. Here we have the infamous Tracy Lords. Her website we kept very clean. Here's a great example of the Twitter embed right on her news page. We wanted to make it as easy as possible for Tracy to update her website, and we went through the whole rigmarole of WordPress and even some other third-party content management systems. There's a great one called Cushy CMS, which you guys might want to check out. It's free. You log in, you set up a free account, you grant the system access to your FTP account so it can write to your files. And as far as setting that
Okay,
up,
hold on. We just spoke a language to each other that we enjoy and we drink from and we're nourished by. I'm sure it went by pretty much everybody else in the room.
This is
right?
Rennie Zellweger going,
Yeah.
you lost me at FTP.
Right. So understand that you will encounter from time to time people like David and Marcus and Ellen and Gavin
especially
and
me.
I, and we will say things to you that are similar to what happened when you went to China for the first time and you encountered someone who didn't speak the little Cantonese that you learned on the way over, but actually spoke Sichuan, and you didn't understand them, right? Note that we are not here to hurt you. We are actually here to help you, but sometimes we insert letters where longer words have, like EPK, electronic press kit. Really? You can't just say electronic press kit? Really? You got to say EPK? Okay, so FTP means uploading or downloading. File transfer protocol, uploading or downloading. You will at some point need to understand the process, not necessarily the shorthand, but just know that we just lapse into this language. It's no offense. It just helps us communicate with each other on our home planet.
Yeah, perhaps we could put out
What's,
some sort of
what's
layman
CMS? Content Management System.
That's a
There
good
are
idea. Layman's
hundreds
terms.
of glossaries that you can look up via Google. Yeah.
Thank you for stopping, because I was just thinking, oh, I love what this guy is saying.
Yeah,
And then,
it's so
oh
sexy,
gosh,
right?
nobody else
It
understands.
really, like, all of us here are really kind of excited right now. I'm just letting you know. All right, go ahead, David. Sorry. I'm actually excited about Tracy Lord's dress in that picture. That is some pretty awesome.
Dress.
Yeah. All right, FTP. So go ahead.
FTP. Well, if you guys want to check out Cushy CMS, I definitely recommend it. Just the website is cushycms.com.
Yeah, CUSHY CMS.
Yeah, the translation is you can change it yourself.
That's correct.
So content management system means you can change it yourself.
And let's talk about something a little bit basic there. Just because everybody up here has talked about around the concept of either doing it yourself,
Right.
and then remembering that this is not an end game, that the moment you finish your website is simply the beginning of managing that website and changing that website. It's like I teach voiceover in town and around town, and we talk about demos. Demos, from the moment you create it, become a living, breathing, changing, just like your reel would be. As you get booked on Rizzoli and Isles, you're going to get that clip from, right? And you're going to put it in your drama reel or your comedy reel, depending upon what kind of scene it was. So think about your website in terms of a breathing document, an organism that changes. So the question you have to ask yourself is, am I willing to learn what I need to learn to update that website, change it as I need to, reflect my new branding, reflect my new advancements, my new whatever I want to let people know about? Or am I willing to simply trade time for money and pay somebody to do it for me?
You don't want to be lapsed into the so 5 years ago. You don't want it to be a cobweb site.
Right.
There's nothing more frustrating for a visitor, the director or the producer who wants to hire you, and they see that the last time you updated the site was 2005, and you look nothing like that. And I absolutely agree with that. I've had clients that have been with me for 14 years, and they've changed categories, 3 or 4 times. So we have completely done complete redesigns because they were the perky college student, and then they were the young professional, and then the young mom, and then the wife of the senator, or whatever roles that they were playing. So each time you change, I think the website should absolutely change.
Right. Yeah, and it's not like a direct reflection on you, but it tends to leave people with a bad taste if you're trying to promote yourself and you're promoting yourself with the accomplishments you had in 2005, right? It's like, yeah, I've just never quite gotten around to updating the website. Well, that kind of reflects you. So as you embark upon it, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it, right? Be careful when you walk down this path and go, yeah, I'm going to learn WordPress, and I'm going to figure out how to update my site. Because now you've set yourself up with the to-do list of updating your website. And you can't just go, maybe I'll get to it next week, right? So be careful about that. David, go ahead.
All right, let's, with Tracy, we have our Facebook, social media. That was all after, conversations with her and her manager. That's all they wanted to promote up there, so we kept that kind of sparse.
Mm-hmm. And Tracy Lords is the kind of personality where you don't really care if her Twitter feed is provocative, because her brand is provocative. In fact, you'd want your Twitter feed and your Facebook feed to be a little out there if you're Tracy Lords.
Consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
Consistency.
Promote and support your brand.
All right. Here we have Jim Ward, who's a great voiceover guy. His website, this is his Reels page, and we kind of broke these down. We have his on-camera videos up top and his voiceover videos, and if you keep on scrolling, it breaks down into some other categories as well. Just another example of some alternatives to embedding video here. Let's check out the next one. Here's Janice Page from the 40s and 50s. She's still around and she's still kicking. And we've got her IMDb link and her Facebook, and again, everything is very easily accessible right across the top here. One click to anything. Okay, let's check out the next one. Here we have Daniel O'Shea. Danny's latest work was on, what am I thinking about? With Nucky Thompson. That was his last role. And here, Danny's site again, very clean. You get a strong sense of his brand right here, and all the links again. You know, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but here we have all our socials, nice and easy to find, nice and easy to stay in touch with all of his updates. Let's check out the next one. Here's Ashley Whitaker. Ashley does some commercial work out of Seattle, and this is a very straightforward site. These thumbnails, when you click on one, you get the familiar, I guess the technical term would be the light box pop-up. You click on it, the screen goes dark, and then the focus image comes up, and you can scroll through them all that way. And there's a very simple site. And down at the bottom here, instead of the individual social media elements, we embedded just a simple share button. And this is available at shareit.com. You can go up there, you can configure all sorts of different ways to make it easy to share your website. You can share it on, I don't know, 40 or 50 different social media websites.
And be clear about the difference between having a link to your social media presences, which we've seen on all of the other examples that David has, larger icons in his case, but not necessarily any different from the icons that you're seeing. This is not about going to someone's feed. It's about sharing on your feed what you've found. So having a fan come to your site and share what they find on their feed.
This is a call to action.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, and one more slide that'll round us out here. It's a very simple 3-page website for Nicholas. And here we have the Twitter feed over on the left. We have a couple of links that link off to, just various reviews. His short and sweet bio over on the right with his contact information for his agent, his manager, his Twitter, his IMDb, and if you click on the little email icon there, that actually brings you to a contact form. And that just lets people, fans as well as those in the industry get in touch with him very easily.
And look at how well his Twitter feed is managed, right? It's interesting, right? Like the phrase, why in the moments when I want to be cool and slick, I end up being awkward and clumsy. That's attractive. It's cute. He has a brand that he's supporting.
Yeah.
And the other things that are on there, clever words from Woody Allen, like you'd said, Gavin, share the knowledge.
It's two-thirds of the feed that you can see on this page are not about him, really. Mm-hmm. They're about stuff that you might find interesting.
And then, in turn, that is about him, right? That's about him giving.
Do we need to have it just a layman's terms on what those little things are? Does everybody know what those little pound signs are on the Twitter feed?
Hashtags.
Okay, those are called hashtags, and those are words and phrases that will trend on Twitter. So when he's making reference to something that is trending on Twitter, he'll put that little hashtag symbol or the pound symbol in front of it. You can also put little @ symbols if you're making a reference to someone else on Twitter. So just so that you can start beginning to speak Twitter, I just thought I'd give you a little translation.
Yeah, this has become a kind of a lingua franca on all the sharing sites. You can do it on Google Plus or Facebook as well.
Great.
A pound is a generic search term, and an
He's saying FF.
FF on.
FF, Follow
And
Fridays.
it's Follow Fridays.
Follow Fridays.
Yeah, that's kind of an anachronism at this point, because it used to be that everybody was about getting followers, more followers. It was like when you first started with Circles or Google Plus, everybody's like, how many people are in your circles? How many do you have? And Follow on Friday, they used to say, hey, here are some people that you should follow that I follow. And the hashtag there was #FF or #Follow Friday. People just sort of generically on Friday shared the people that they thought you'd be interested in following if you're interested in following me.
And then
right?
it would be followed by the @ symbol and then the Twitter handle.
Correct. All right. Anything else, David?
That pretty much wraps up the slides.
Great. Let me do this. We're going to open this up for questions now. We have a bunch of questions that have come from the website and from email, and some that you guys have filled out on the way in. I'm sure now that you have been through this incredibly insightful panel, you have an amazing number of questions that you couldn't have predicted that you would have. So I think we have somebody collecting those questions. Is that the way we're going to do it as usual? So let's start with a question from Richard Rempel for all of us. With IMDb, Facebook pages, and demo reels, et cetera, why is a website even needed?
That gives you a central place that you can control. It's a place that you can call home. You know, I think you need to have all of it.
Yes, exactly. You need to control your own public relations. If someone's looking for you, why are you going to make them search at IMDb where they may find someone who looks just like you and has more credits than you?
Go ahead.
But they're not as famous and less expensive.
Exactly. Right.
You also need something to put on your business card and your resume, one place that's going to be able to link to all the other pages about you. So you want people to get to those pages through your website when you're getting to know them.
Yep. You cannot safely predict what vector people will find you via. I don't know if that was perfect grammar, but you know what I'm saying. So instead of trying to predict that, just give them everything. Give them every possible avenue. All roads lead to you. Remember, the people that are sitting in this room as we do this live and tape it, you're in Los Angeles. And no offense to the people in New York and London and Sydney and Tokyo, but Los Angeles is ground zero for the most important production and content that the world consumes. And you all have put yourself up against everybody else in the business that looks like you, right? And I don't think there's anybody in this room that doesn't have any credits whatsoever, because you're all members of a great union, right? So occasionally you win. So give the people that are looking for you the opportunity to find you instead of the person that has the more credits and the more money that's required to use them. Use your website to be the point for that to begin. And then all the rest of it you still have to do as well.
If you'll allow me for a moment, you asked how many people would be scared of this. How many people own your own domain name? Oh, thank goodness. Okay, good. If you don't own your own domain name, get it right now. I recommend that you get all the misspellings of your name, anything that someone may accidentally come and find you. And for my child actors, I recommend very strongly. Actually, I just had a meeting today with Denise Boutet, and her name has been bought by a pirate who is trying to hijack her to get her name back. So we've tried to do a lot of workarounds, getting everything else around that, but we're not going to be able to get her name without spending over $5,000. So buy your domain name now. Also, for my child actors, I strongly recommend that you get the name and then all expletives that may be around it that people who might hate you for being famous will get and put up a website. So expletive Riley Griffith or Riley Griffith's expletive. Buy all those domain names now to be safe. Okay, yep. I'm just giving you your word of caution. There have been more times with Michael Hitchcock. It took us $1,200 to get his name back. And in a lot of cases, you may get people that hate you and want to put up a site that is very disparaging to you. Yep. And those sites will be found and indexed as well. So buy the domain names. They're cheap. Just buy them now.
And even go one step further back. How many of you haven't yet chosen your SAG name? Or are considering changing your SAG name because your domain name is not available?
Good point.
It's now become a consideration point before you join the union with a particular name. Is that name available as a domain name? And it's almost more important to do that than any other consideration. Because if you can get that, it's so important to have that web domain that now people are choosing their SAG names based on whether the name is available as a web domain.
And if you get something really great and some pirate buys your name, that's going to be unfortunate. So buy your names now. Buy all variations of your names and all expletives around your name.
David, you jump in there anytime you have something to say. We don't want to be going, David, do you have anything to say? So you just jump in, okay? All right, cool. This one's from Miranda Martinez. It doesn't say who it's for, but it's for everybody. What are some good and fairly priced, easy-to-use online web building services with already built templates? Now, we've already mentioned WordPress.
Google
there's also
Sites.
Drupal. There's Joomla. There's a number of different things that have odd,
Weebly.
weird to say. Weebly, Wix. There were some things that Marcus mentioned and also that Gavin mentioned. Anything else that we've forgotten about .me?
They're going to change. You know, like anything in technology, it's going to change. I would recommend that if you've got a choice between something that's commercially provided and something that is based on open source software, that you go with the open source alternative. WordPress, for example, is open source software. You can get the software at no cost, and you can run it on your own server at no cost, but they also make money by hosting for you. And that's a good model because people who are deeply involved with it will get paid, but you're not locked into their software, and if they go away, the software doesn't also go away.
Yep.
And also think about what it's worth it to you. Are you making a lot of money? Then have a site professionally built for you. If you're just starting out, go ahead and do something free, and then when you have the opportunity, just look at it from that perspective. If you walk into a casting office with a snapshot photograph of yourself with your resume scrawled on the back of the picture, they're going to dismiss you as being unprofessional. So I really think that I want to encourage you, if this is a good value proposition for you, get a professional doing a professional site. It's the same thing that you go through with a photographer. You look at their work, you decide if you think that you can work with them, they're in your price range, and it looks like it's going to be a good fit. It's the same process.
I was going to say if you really want to work on your own website, I would start off, if you know nothing, with Weebly, because it's got like a click and drag interface. It's free at WEEBLY. Start with that one. If you feel like you can handle more, you can do a Google Sites, and then from there you can start looking at other options and stuff. And if that's already too much for you, if you don't like the way that's working, then just hire somebody.
But on the other side of it, it's actually kind of fun to do. So if you've got a technical inclination and you like to do this kind of work, you shouldn't be scared off of it. It's not that unapproachable.
And it's the easiest programming language to learn. It's like turning a light switch on and then turning it off. That's it. Like, you just got to know all the tags, but you turn on the tag.
There was some dissension in the ranks over that phrase. I don't know. If you have questions, please jot them down on one of the cards. This gentleman here has a question, so if you could pass him a card. Did you have something else?
Well, I just want to encourage you, if you are doing your own website, make sure that you're consistent across all your media. Make sure that if your agent has said, always use Lucida Bright when we put your name, or always use Bank Gothic, or understand typography, understand that you are communicating your brand with everything that you put on your website. So understand if you play really soft characters, then look for sort of softer colors and softer fonts that you can use. And if you play the really hard-nosed guy, I noticed in David's examples, his fonts perfectly matched the actor. There was no discrepancy. It was absolutely consistent. Beautiful feminine fonts for beautiful feminine people, very strong fonts for the very strong character. So just make sure that as you're going through, that your fonts and your colors and those things are consistent.
Even such a simple a choice as black as the background for Chris's site. I mean, black means what? Evil. right? And what was Chris? Creepy evil villain, right?
And then he had that gray sort of industrial
Sure.
urban look to it. Really terrific.
Yeah.
Really terrific.
All right, Jason Frankovitz writes, are there any suggestions or best practices for voiceover websites instead of actor websites? I can tell you that on my website, for my voiceover teaching practice, which is votogogo.com, I offer my pro members their own page. I don't even take them to a multiple page site. I want everything combined in one very concise, very easily found and easily consumed page. All of their demo reels, all of their equipment that they may have at home, because in the world of voiceover, home equipment is standard today for auditioning and for doing work. Their service area, their union affiliations, accents, dialects, potential examples of voiceover in video. On my particular pro member sites, I actually include a video that I make for them extolling their virtues, so they get sort of a testimonial from me as well. But all of it is in one page, no clicks, you barely have to scroll. If I could make things smaller without making them more hard to read, I would probably do that, and that's an important balance. Don't get clever with the size of your text. Don't try to pack everything into 8 or 6 point font just so that you can get it above the fold, because you don't know who's coming to your site and what kind of visual acuity problems they may be suffering from. I'm wearing glasses for the first time in my life, and all of a sudden, the web is impenetrable to me. And once I put the glasses on, oh, I can now read that. That's kind of awesome. So don't make them work so hard. You look like you're just itching.
No, this is the middle-aged part
Yeah,
of the.
exactly.
It's
Why do you think Google looks the way it looks? Right? Google doesn't even apply font work. They rely on your browser's base fonts so that it doesn't, so that the rendering engine in your browser doesn't even have to worry about whether or not you have a font choice that they need to make, because they are so attuned to load times. It's hysterical. I mean, there's whole teams dedicated to shaving milliseconds off of the search result load time so that they're not making you wait, because they know these metrics for how quickly people can be lost.
we're very slowly turning up the dials to try to make it more engaging, but it's still, load time is much more important than a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so aside from that, yes, make sure they can find everything voiceover-wise that you need. You want to bring some more of those up? That'd be great. Esther, I think this is Chai? Che, thank you. Thank you so much. And look at this, it's like a gift. It's like presents. I work predominantly as an actor, but like many others, do various other things. Writing, solo performances, consulting, etc. What is the best way to stream online? Is that what it says? To streamline? Oh, streamline all the different related things to me, the artist, and on the website also, I'm building a service tab to do something to all this. Any thoughts? I have some, but go ahead.
Well, at a minimum, you want to have multiple front doors, right? It's like having your office and your home, and you invite different people through both doors. As far as the technology part of managing multiple front doors, in other words, 2 websites at different domains, I'm not sure what the solution for that is. I'm sure there are, but...
What was it?
I mean, so for example, if I wanted to have a website for me as a software developer versus me as a maker of short films, I have 2 different websites.
Right.
For that.
So I suggest an umbrella site. I have davids.com, davids.com, and basically it's a very simple, interestingly, laid out sort of explosion site that when you click on a dot, it opens up into a number of different sort of fireworks that show you all the different things that I do. And from there, you can then find other sites that I've built for those specific things. The question that I would have you ask is, are those different things that you do truly going to lead from one to the other, or are they, instead of being complementary, are they exclusionary? So obviously, if you're a writer as well as an actor, there's going to be some crossplay there. But if you are, say, a gymnast as well as a plumber, perhaps not.
I would hire that plumber.
Immediately. In fact, Gabby Douglas is coming to his house to change the toilet out next week because she's done with the Olympics, right? So that's one thing that I would say is you know, yes, you can, and you know, you remember how, you know, any service like multiple branded services, like all of the AOL properties like Gawker and that sort of thing that have individual cross-linking to them. They had that tab motif where across the top or across the bottom you have opportunities for people to discover other things that you do, but you're not necessarily shoving that in their face, especially when they're coming for a specific purpose to you, right? They're coming to you as an actor. Don't distract them with the fact that you're a gymnast. Even though that may help, most of the time they want to find out your brand.
And in marketing terms, that's called, the difference is a house of brands versus a branded house. So for an example, Nike is a branded house, and everything at Nike supports its brand. A house of brands would be something like a Procter & Gamble or a Johnson & Johnson. So underneath Procter & Gamble or Johnson & Johnson, there are multiple brands. So you really have to decide for yourself, am I a branded house or a house of brands? Am I a person who does all of these things and it all serves the same? Or am I just one thing very specifically, and having those people find you based on the fact that you're either a gymnast or a plumber?
Right.
So, I mean,
What?
but if you're a high-level celebrity, it's okay to have all those other things as well. We have high-level celebrities that they can be, you know, professional figure skaters as well, or they do other things. Writers, directors, producers, however many sort of slashes you have or hyphens you have, you don't have to necessarily have a website for each of those if they all serve you.
Okay. This came in via email earlier today, from Scott Regal. The one thing I question the most is the need for a blog. That's great to question the need for a blog. I want the focus of my blog to be primarily on the work and thought behind the work that I'm doing, but often I want to go off topic, yet don't do that as I find it may not be what my audience is interested in. So I guess my question is a blog really necessary these days in your opinion, or should Twitter and Facebook be the primary tools for blogging? You know, I think that depends on how vociferous you are about the things that you are most passionate about, and whether or not that is destructive or supportive of your acting career, because that's what we're here about, is your acting website, right? So that's, yeah.
Yeah, there's a science fiction writer that I like quite a lot, and he was blogging really heavily for a while, and he said, you know, I saw him speak, and he said, you know, I stopped blogging because it was stealing all my writing energy. And he's on Twitter quite a bit, though. So it depends on what you get out of it. If you get something out of writing and it contributes and you're good at it and you like to do it and it doesn't take away the energy that you need to act, then sure, that's one of your maybe competitive advantages. If you hate it, don't do it. You know, it's just a way of keeping updates coming. And there are other avenues for that as well, which are stream posts on Twitter or Facebook or Google+.
Right. And be careful about getting so wrapped up in the things that you're passionate about that they're either distracting or destructive to the potential you have of getting booked. You know, if somebody starts reading about your opinions of Obama or anybody who's running or isn't running or comments that people make, those can be just as off-putting as they are supportive. So make sure that you sort of isolate your business from your pleasure.
Yeah, it's just like being a politician, right? You just watch what you say and know that, you know, whatever you say is not going to be universally accepted. So you could make enemies and you can make some friends, I guess. So.
Yes, the basis of impression management is you want to control what people think of you. So it's always goal-oriented. Do you want someone to think of you as a ranter and a raver? Okay, that's fine, if that's how you're selling yourself. Do you want to seem like milquetoast? Maybe not. But do you want to have opinions about things that are important to you? Absolutely.
Lewis Black is not going to be milquetoast on his blog. Right. I mean, he actually can't be now.
Right. And that's supportive of his brand, right?
Exactly.
If you're a stand-up comedian, or if you are a YouTube phenomenon and you're all about being wacky and crazy, then that's going to be easily supported by the blog, and you'd want to put your blog on the site. I want to take a moment and just make sure that, David, you're okay. Is there anything you want to jump in here with? Because I hate to think that you wanted to say something, but we haven't given you the opportunity. Wow, I didn't hear a word he said, did you?
David, we're talking specifically about blogs and whether to blog or not to blog. That is the question.
Okay, we're going to need to reconnect with David because it's real choppy. Is this from you, sir? Is this the question that did you put your name on your card? No, you didn't? Okay, so this I think is from you. How do you get around long domain names when using sites like Google Sites? Aren't you given an address bar a domain name which makes it unreadable? I think what you're talking about is like sites.google.com/something or blogger.com/whatever you chose to do, or a subdomain.
By your domain name, by your name.
Yeah, you can always mask your domain name over another site if that site allows you to do that.
Google Sites does.
But that's one of the disadvantages of, in some cases, free options, is that they want the branding for WordPress.com. So you can pay extra if you want, johnsmith.com to point to that and be masked by it so that it doesn't just simply point to it and then it changes in the browser to johnsmith.wordpress.com. GoDaddy is a perfect example of a service that will let you mask domain names for a fee per year. So there's always that opportunity. But yes, that's how you get around it. Yes?
Yeah, maybe it's not so much the name. I just remember when I put up a Google site name for a theater company about 4 years ago, it was just like useless because it's like you've got about 20 letters that you've got to go through.
So you're just talking about domain name length in general?
No, he's talking about for the Google site, the Google.
Well, very often the domain name is just the first part of it, and after that you have what's called the query string, which is a bunch of parameters that are used to land somebody deeper into your site than the front page. I'm not sure about your specific case, but...
well, don't make the mistake of thinking that people are going to type all that stuff in. Yeah, don't worry about the fact that Google may append some things to your search term just to help the engine get there. That's not something that a visitor is going to look at and go, what? I didn't want to do that. Because what they're looking at is the results, right? So you don't have to worry about that if that's...
Plus, that was 4 years ago. Oh, my gosh.
Justin Regis, question for everyone. Are there some tips for how to optimize a website for mobile phone access? That's great, because you never know, again, what vector a casting director gets a call from a director going, hey, we just wrote a new part in, and they're on the road, right? They're on the bus, or they're in their car, or whatever. Yeah, let me get right on that, right?
Yeah, there's some very specific things you can do, but a lot of them are limit the page weight, so you don't want to have a whole lot of graphics. You can actually, in your website, if your designer knows what they're about, or if you're using a template that's specifically built for this, it'll switch the actual styling for mobile phones. They'll say, oh, this guy's on mobile, I'm going to give him this specially tailored version of the site, so it will be lighter and load faster and look better and be more readable on the mobile device.
I was reading a question here. Did you just mention that it was a plugin for WordPress? Because WordPress also has plugins that make your site easily readable if on the way into your site, the server notices that it's coming from a mobile device. That's called a browser sniff. And basically the server goes, oh, it's coming from an iPhone. Great, I'll show them the iPhone version of the site.
Can I just, all right, we're being recorded. Just turn off the recorders. Can I just say something bad about IE9?
You don't have to.
Internet Explorer 9. Which is a Microsoft product.
Which is not backward compatible now. So all the beautiful WordPress things that we've done, it says, you can't view this unless you update your browser. What's the matter with you? I apologize. It was like saying 4 years ago. I apologize. But it's almost as if they're saying, how dare you be yesterday?
Well, it'll only work for them if it continues to work for them. They'll change it if it doesn't work.
Oh, how about forcing us to Silverlight? Wasn't that fun?
That didn't work.
Yeah, neither did Flash.
Anybody remember Bob? That didn't work. We answered the first part of this question. Let me go to the second part. What do you think is an appropriate cost of hiring someone to make a basic actor's website? Photos, some videos, resume, etc. And this is a perfect opportunity for David to go first.
Can you guys hear me all right now?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, we can hear you fine now.
Excellent. It really depends. A good baseline cost to do a website usually starts about $500 and goes up depending on the level of customization that's wanted and how graphically intense whole host of factors that are involved there, but you know, I would say, you know, just a good baseline price, start about $500 and go up from there.
Ellen?
We have 3 simple offers. We have a $295 sort of single-page site that has all what you need, $495 for a custom site up to 10 pages, and then $795 for a kind of a WordPress on steroids site that allows you to do all your social media, integrate your blog, and do everything like that. So we really have just 3 tiers.
And then what do you guys charge individually, starting with you, David, to maintain sites? Because that's sort of the ongoing monthly or by event. I just got booked on Rizzoli and Isles, as we know. I've never worked Rizzoli and Isles.
You will. I can feel it in the room.
I've auditioned like 6 times for them, so apparently they don't like me, but they like me. What do you charge for maintenance, David?
Usually start about $75 flat fee per month.
Okay.
And that covers about an hour and a half worth of updates. Some of the updates literally take 5 minutes. So,
right.
you know.
So ours is $28 a month, and that includes all updates, changes, and design changes. So that's why I've had people that have been with me for
That's a lot.
14 years.
For $28, that's great.
Yeah.
I charge $250 an hour, but I charge by the minute. So if something only takes me 5 minutes, as David was mentioning, it's pretty inexpensive. Charles says, low cost or free podcast host solution for weekly episodes.
YouTube.
Yeah, you could do YouTube. There's a bunch of
cost,
things you
it's
can
free.
do.
Yeah.
One of the things you can do is you create a Blogger or WordPress account and then feed that into something like FeedBurner and then use that as the RSS. It'll create, this is so hard to explain to people who don't know.
So remember the question was, are there any free or low-cost services?
The answer is yes, and you can go
It's a
Google a
roundabout
cookbook.
thing.
Say it again?
You first.
It's a roundabout thing. There's not, you may find a service or not, but usually it's a multi-step thing to
So
get
the question I would ask back to the questioner is, are you talking about audio podcasts or video podcasts? If you're talking about video podcasts, there are literally dozens and dozens of sites, including YouTube and Vimeo and Rever and Blip and all that, that you can put your stuff up at. And there is a site that you should know about, should you start to do this, called TubeMogul, which lets you put the video up once, and then TubeMogul does all the work about making it look great on all the different sites. You basically give TubeMogul your credentials to log into all the sites, and it does all that awful work of waiting for the upload and the video to be processed and all that on all of them. TubeMogul.
If you give your real password to another site, you should be very, very sure that it's a trustworthy site. I know a lot of sites have to work this way.
Yep.
But
TubeMogul actually uses, you log in via the sites, and
That's
many
the
of the
secure
sites,
way.
many of the sites are doing that now, where when you give your credentials to a site that will then use them in the future, they simply have you log in a separate, secure window. Like, have you ever logged into a site that uses Twitter or Facebook as the login credentialing? It's the same process for TubeMogul these days, because they don't want to be housing your passwords. And if you ever update your password, they don't have to worry about you updating it on TubeMogul. It happens automatically.
just if you're looking for sites like this, there are some out there that'll say, give us your username and password for this site and
Yeah, be
that
very
site and this
careful.
site and that site, and they may or may not be legitimate. So I would be extraordinarily scared of those.
Yep. TubeMogul, like you're a big-time, big-shot business mogul. TubeMogul. John Keating says, do the free websites own your content?
There's usually a terms of service that say whether or not they do. Most of the big name ones do not own your content.
Yep. Okay, there you go. Is Clout really accurate? Klout. How many of you know what Clout is? So most of you don't. Clout is a site that gives you a ranking of your influence. So if you're on Clout, again, Klout.com, it will go and look to see how many friends you have on Facebook, how many followers you have on Twitter, how often you engage them, and then people will also say, oh, David Lawrence, he's an influencer of me in voiceover, or he's an influencer in me with apps or with acting. And you will gain credibility. My Clout score is high enough that when Lone Star came out on Fox, I got sent a Lone Star picnic kit that had like glasses in it and cider and all that stuff. But let me tell you something. There are people that have high enough clout scores that they get cars sent to them. If your clout score is in the 90s, you may be hearing from Chevy.
I thought that was theoretical.
It's not theoretical. I know 4 people that got Chevy Volts because of
the
their
Volt.
clout score.
Okay, and the Volt.
Oh, just the Volt.
No, I remember that. So Clout analyzes your influence in multiple social media,
Right.
and but it's sort of a self-serving.
Yeah, it's
in
you know what? I
itself,
wouldn't
like-
worry about it so much. You got lines to learn, you got classes to go to, you got an agent to find. Don't worry about clout.
But it's not analyzing your social networks like, oh, you have a bunch of loser friends.
Yeah, don't get wrapped up in making your score higher because you'll drive yourself crazy.
And remember, at a certain point, this will flip around. If you become highly notable on the internet, and then you book some big shows, that's going to drive way more internet traffic
Sure.
than all of your activity on the internet is going to.
Can you embed video on about.me? That's a great question. Does anybody know the answer to that?
I don't know.
Okay.
So I hear
Thank
no.
you. Did you want to take my seat? 'Cause I'm-
Yeah.
You cannot. I'm actually going to look into that just to be sure. Holland
Someone's Googling it right
says
now, I
for
can
anyone, how do you handle copyright infringement on clips on your reel on YouTube, i.e. reels that are taken down because of copyright issues? I actually have an article about this on actinganswers.com that's entitled, Why Did YouTube Take Down My Demo Reel? And I'm not an attorney, but I've played one on the radio for a long time, especially during the days of Napster. I was one of the few technical reporters that was screaming about how once you decide you're going to be a producer, you're going to find out how stupid it is to steal other people's stuff. The truth of the matter is that your demo reels are the perfect example of what fair use is all about. There are 4 tests in the US Copyright Code, Section 117, on fair use, and demo reels satisfy every single one of those 4 tests. You are not putting up the sum and substance of the entire episode. You are not competing with the producers in their marketplace. You are adding to the public discourse, and you are demonstrating your skill, and those 4 tests are the tests that Napster and eDonkey and all of the other download sites and BitTorrent fail miserably when it comes to copyright protection. So don't worry about it. Now, if YouTube does take down your video, and because they have automatic spiders that go around looking for video from television that the different networks have put up on there, there is a very specific and direct and effective response that you can send with a link that's included in the email that you'll get saying that they took it down, saying, please put it back up. This is a demonstration. It is a reel. These are clips specifically designed to show my work. I am in these clips, and they will put it right back up.
Unless it hasn't aired yet, and then they will take it down no matter what you do.
Well, you shouldn't. Okay.
Exactly. No, it gets back to your original
You-
point,
and-
which
and
is exactly.
Let me talk about that real quickly.
Yes.
For those of you that think it's a great idea to get clean clips from the producer or from the editor because you became friends with them, let me tell you what a huge mistake you're making.
Thank you.
Your clips should contain not only that network bug in the lower right-hand corner from Fox and NBC and HBO that you took off of television, but it should also include those promos that pop up that say that Gordon Ramsay's going to have an entire night on Fox next Tuesday night, because that invisibly and permanently tells the casting director that is going to watch your reel online that somebody else took a chance on you and you didn't end up fired or on the cutting room floor. Do not underestimate the value of the network bug. Get the copy from television, not the clean copy that you would get from the production company. It's very important. And if you don't know how to do that, if you have Macintoshes, great device to do this with is the iTV HD, EYE TV HD. I am so happy that I found this. I mean, not that Edit Plus isn't a great place to go to get your clips, but to be able to do it on your own and to be able to do it with that network imprimatur on there, very, very important.
Have you also found that Vimeo is not, I use Vimeo as well. It depends on what my clients need, but I found that Vimeo is not spidered and indexed and slammed as YouTube is. I found that Vimeo is a better...
You mean by the copyright infringement software or by...
Vimeo does not remove as quickly your content as YouTube does.
Vimeo also lets you password protect your
Right,
video.
that's what I like about
which
it
is
as
a
well.
really easy way to share it with somebody. You can send them a link, and they won't have access to it unless you give them the password as well.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, even though I work for Google and YouTube is a Google property, I am a paid Vimeo subscriber, and I use it for my filmmaking efforts. So there's different strokes for different folks. Huh?
How much more could we love him? He's Google, and he's even saying yes to Vimeo.
But it's different uses. I mean, you should
Exactly.
never ignore YouTube.
Exactly.
And there's no reason why you shouldn't be on all of them.
Exactly,
Right?
and it's
If you know of
it's
a video
application
site out there,
specific.
who knows what result a casting director is going to click on to get to you.
Oh, and just a small technical thing. Unless you have an extremely good reason not to, you should be using YouTube or Vimeo to host your videos. You will save yourself innumerable technical headaches. Both of those will play fine on iPad. Really the way to go until you have explicit reasons to do otherwise.
We have time for a couple more questions, real quick. Allison has a question for Ellen. I really don't want to put my personal phone number on my website, but I'm not represented currently. Is email okay?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have personal safety is a big concern of mine and all my clients. I do absolutely everything I can for personal safety. Do not put your phone number on there. And yes, email is absolutely okay if you're not currently represented by an agent. Absolutely, do not put personal information. And actually, if you can, have a domain specific. So it's Allison?
Yeah.
Allison. So Allison at AllisonWhoever.com, and then you can have that forward to something that's personal, or you can check it separately so that you don't get a stalker. I've had a lot of clients that have had stalkers, and it has been it has woken up the whole industry.
But if
So
somebody
I'm
wants to
very,
drop
very
off a
serious.
package at your house, you can have your address and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's the reason why I recommend I register domain names on behalf of all my clients, because I've had clients that have found stalkers on their front porch because they found their name through GoDaddy. So you're going to dead end with me if you're a stalker, and you don't want to go up against me.
Yeah, by the way, most of the domain registration services do let you keep your registration info private. So they know who you are, but no one on the internet can go find out.
Usually they want a little extra money for that option.
Yep.
Pay
So
for it.
GoDaddy will, like for an extra $7 or something like that, keep your information private.
Yeah, pay for it. It's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Angela says, what is a plugin?
I'll take it.
Great.
When you have a large piece of software, whether it's Photoshop or WordPress, and some developer wants to add functionality to it that serves a narrower audience, they can, if those larger applications allow it, you can develop a small package that provides that focused bit of functionality. So in the case of WordPress, there are many plugins for broadcasting to social networks and changing the styles and serving mobile phones and so on. And you kind of pick and choose among them. Some are free and some are not. And they will let you kind of custom configure your software.
Yep. We answer this kind of, where's a cheap place to buy a domain name? GoDaddy, Two Cows, lots of different places.
DreamHost will do it for you.
Yeah, a lot of them resell services from other domain registrars. I'm sorry, you looked like you just got lost in the weeds.
Two cows.
DreamHost?
DreamHost. Originally, Network Solutions was the one place that was given the contract to. So, and everyone understands the domain name extension. Are you familiar with what I mean when I say extension?
.com, .net.
Okay, .com, .net, all those different dots. It used to be that you could get a .com if you were a commercial site, .net if you were a network type of site, .edu if you're an educational site, .org. You used to have to prove that you were a nonprofit organization. So a lot of those have gone out the window. what I think is the fun one is that the story about the TV domain, the .tv, that actually was a little island in the South
Tuvalu?
Pacific. Yeah,
That
Tuvalu.
was when I was working at Idea Lab.
Oh,
Did
you were at
.tv,
Idea
yeah.
Lab? Oh, brilliant. Oh my gosh. So
A
Idea
little
Lab.
sandbar with a good top-level domain.
And so Idea Lab went out there and bought. They gave the citizens a whole bunch of money, and now they have the .tv, which I think is just so much fun. I like .me too. That's kind of fun too. But use the .com.
I interviewed the national correspondent for the Tuvalu is actually how she pronounced it, news service. She was under the impression that every time someone registered a .tv domain, which went anywhere from $50 a year up, not very high, but like 100 or so, that every resident of Tuvalu was going to receive $500,000. I chose not to disabuse her of that notion.
She's still waiting for her check.
Right. Jillian, is it Jillian or Gillian? Jillian writes, if I have bought my domain name Jillian Doyle at that's not a domain name. That's an email address. Jillian Doyle at info.com. No, just .info.
.info.
Okay, so it's really important to understand that all these crazy characters, the @ signs, the dots, etc., very important to understand the differences between how they work. So it's jilliandoyle.info. Right. From GoDaddy, do I have to pay them to host it? No.
No.
You don't. Now, they want you to, and you can, and it's okay that you do. They're actually a pretty good hosting service, but you don't have to stick with who you register your domain with to host your domain.
It's very simple just to point the domain name that you have, to anywhere that you decide to host.
And GoDaddy has terrific tech support that will help you change what are called the DNS services, the domain name services, that will point you to another hosting service if you want to.
And GoDaddy, they speak English. The network solutions people, I'm not sure where they're.
Also, the person that you register the domain with, GoDaddy in this case, they don't own it either. So you can also, if you're dissatisfied with the registrar, the person who's assigned you the name, and you say, GoDaddy blows, which they don't, but if you decide that, you can move it to another registrar.
And we've now moved to the PG-13 portion of our show.
Blows like an ill wind.
An ill wind, exactly, okay. Last couple questions here. Emily says, how do you manage your SAG name versus your real name? Who is Emily and where are you? What do you mean by that?
Meaning like I have a Facebook site that like my friends and family from high school have.
Yep. She's saying she has a Facebook site that has her real name and so on. Create a fan page, create a business page for your SAG name.
But if you don't want someone finding yourself, but you want to promote your page too.
So she said if you don't want somebody finding your own, so you have chosen, because you're a member of that generation that doesn't really think about necessarily the potential ramifications of those postings from 5 years ago, right? Not you in particular, just your entire generation, I'm damning, right? Understand that you have, it's like if you talk to anybody who's in human resources, they will say to you, before you as a 14-year-old decide you know more about the internet than everybody else in the world, and you start posting everything about everything, think about the future and think about how you'll have to kind of clean that up at some point. And so in your case, if you're concerned about people finding your real name, just don't have any connection between the two of them. Create a new account on Facebook and then generate your Facebook fan page or business page from that new account, and don't link the two. Yeah?
There's also a ton of privacy settings in Facebook now after all of that. If you pay attention, you can pretty much unlist yourself from people being able to discover you and look at your posts. So
great questions, and I'm sure you have thousands more. When you see this on the website, I'm pretty sure we're putting everybody's contact information on the site. Is that right? I'm asking. Okay, we're not sure.
We can.
So what I'm about to say may or may not be true. If you
David knows how to get a hold of us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. If you have questions, feel free. My email address is davidlawrence@gmail.com. If the other people on the panel want to give their email addresses, they can.
I'm impossible not to find on the internet.
Okay.
EllenTrainor@gmail.com. EllenTreanor.
And you can find me here since I work here. come to the computer lab and ask Tina if you can get in touch with me.
And our website is called Actors Webmaster, actorswebmaster.com.
And David?
You can contact me at david@davidcosgrove.com, or you can just go to my website, davidcosgrove.com.
Great. So let me take a moment and thank the SAG Foundation for having us here tonight. It's always great. They just do. They do. If you are watching this and you're not in the audience and you're not taking advantage of all the things that these Life Raft events have to offer and that the space here has to offer, it's just great. And you know, when you think to yourself, what's the union doing for me? This is one of those great things that the union is doing for you. And with that, thank you so much for attending, and thank you for watching online.